Welcome back to Where Tigers Walk. Good to see you again. There's lots of talk about fairy tales in the playoff with Wrexham going up to 6, but surely the real fairy tale is Hull City are there. Transfer embargo Tigers, injuries galore, and yet 3 wins in the bounce. And Hull are looking potentially for automatics. Great to have your company back with us. We are delighted to have, a very positive 20-minute chat this week up the effing embargo Tigers, and Wembley has been booked. We've got Ben, Matty, Jack and Elliot back with us. Apologies if you missed us last week. The man flu hit me, but hopefully we're going to get through this whole episode without too much of that, as we've got lots to discuss. We've got our new Japanese hero to discuss. We've got Dowell to discuss. We've also got XG to discuss, because Swansea fans aren't very happy about that. And of course, we've got 4 years of action to celebrate as well. So lots to get our teeth into. But let's start, of course, with the Swansea game, Matty, shall we? Swansea want 3 points for having more XG.
I think every team in the league wants to have 3 points for more XG than us, but I think it just goes to prove how clinical we have actually been in front of goal. It goes to prove that we're being managed, we're being coached really well. But let's be honest. It was a tough game yesterday. Swansea gave us a good game, but the chances they missed. They missed 2 open goal. Well, he was in the 6-yard box, wasn't he? Their striker, and he missed, and then he had another opportunity to do that. But there you go. It goes to prove that XG isn't everything, and obviously there's been a lot kind of branded around this week about it, but it doesn't mean anything. The most vital statistic is sticking the ball in the back of the net, which we are doing, and we are being ruthless in front of goal. So all this talk about XG and Hull are a great side, don't matter. We are doing that. We are doing the business, which which is most important. So it's totally irrelevant, because the score is what counts at the end of the day.
Absolutely, yeah. If we looked at the XG average table, you'd be 17th down there with Derby and Preston, who are also obviously fighting at the top of the table. So what a little nonsense it is. Right, let's talk about this fairy tale then, Ben. You must be sick of this narrative a little bit as well. JD says, yes, of course the fairy tale is a side that stayed upon goal difference last year, was slapped with a transfer embargo this summer, where everyone's favourites to go down, and had countless injuries all season, and still in 4th place. Dan says the fairy tale of 30 million plus spent, of course, with Wrexham. Meanwhile, we're embargo, no fee spent, and 4th. That's the real fairy tale. Yeah. Do you mind Hull not getting the press that other teams are getting, even though you have played potentially the more consistent football and are higher in the table?
To be fair, I suppose it's not a bad thing, because it relieves the sort of media pressure that's on the players in a way, because I'm sure they'll be listening to what people are saying, they'll be reading what people are saying on social media, and if they're going under the radar, then it's a good thing City aren't having as much pressure, because where they are on the table, there's going to be a lot of pressure come the end of the season, and that just keeps on building and building. If it ends up going to the playoffs, you get even more pressure from outside. So at the minute, if it's quite quiet, I'm sure they won't mind that. I'm sure they'll be happy to just keep plodding along, knocking out victories, getting 3 points here and there. And I think the fairy tale stuff about Wrexham, it's just all the Disney Plus talk, the documentary, all that. Everyone loves it. Sky love it, don't they? And obviously they're not the biggest fans of us with the transfer limit, the embargo that we had at the start of the season. And I think a lot of people have forgotten that we're in that situation because of the way we're doing, the way we're playing, to be honest.
Does it upset anybody here, the coverage that perhaps Wrexham get?
No, not really. But I think you do have to put in context as well that some of the players that we have in this team, yes, we are under an embargo, but we did buy them last season, so we're not totally up against that. We spent 5 million or whatever on Hughes, so we're not totally. We've done well. I think we've just gone about it. We've gone about it, or it's shown that the fans that you don't have to throw money at it, which is great in terms of that. So we did throw a lot of money at it last year, and I think it's kind of got a bit of a reality check for for Adrian and the club is that you don't have to throw millions of pounds of it to get up. Yeah, it helps if you do it, but this is probably a preferred model for us, is to go through 3 transfers and whatever else. So you've got to remember some of those players, Miller we've paid money for in there, Hughes we've paid money for, Pandor we've paid money for. So we have bought money. The whole, and this isn't against us, it's just like, to put it into context a little bit, that we have, invested money into the team as well. But it doesn't bother me. Like Ben says, it goes under the radar, and all the teams in the league absolutely hate us because they think we're the worst team in the league. So it's just like it's great. So so long like it may continue in terms of that. So yeah.
Okay. Right, let's focus on this one to give a little bit more detail and look at some players then. Jack, good to get a result at the MK, and we've had that dodgy result against Stoke, of course, and the awful draw that no one ever should remember against Blackburn in the Cup. Fancy talking about Regan Slater for a bit for us, Jack?
Oh, he only costs 50 grand, isn't it? It's probably the most valuable 50
You've not mentioned that.
The best 50 grand I've ever spent in their lives. He's just, the way he's developed over the seasons is just incredible. I mean, he was in League One, he played well, but then I think it started under his senior when he started playing a bit more attacking. He came out of his shell more. He was more like, he's shooting a lot more. I mean, he had that spell where nothing was going in. He was hitting the bar, and anything he hit was just going to have off target. But suddenly he's clicked and he's getting goals. And especially that goal yesterday was just absolutely incredible. I mean, when the ball came out to him, I thought he was going to just pass it or lay it off, but he was confident enough to just rifle it into the top right corner. So, and that's what we're seeing from these players. We're seeing confidence. We're seeing shots. I mean, Miller had a few shots as well from outside the box. The players are actually, I've just said, brimming with confidence. They're not scared. They're just shooting anywhere. But I think that's what we need more, because teams are going to be defending as well, because they know our attacking threat. So they're going to have a lot of players back. So we need to sometimes just change it up a little bit and shoot from distance rather than trying the little intricate passes in the box. Because I think teams recently in our recent games have kind of switched on to that, and especially Middlesbrough, they didn't really let us have the balls into the box. So it's just good to see us shoot, just doing something differently, and it worked. It worked. We got the penalty, we got that goal, and we was able to defend well ourselves. So overall, it was a good victory, and it's just good to see something different work for us.
Elliot, clear up one player that fans were divided on. This one here, Physio Peck says, Famio really used to get his flowers for yesterday. I've slayed him a bit when he first got here, but he was very good yesterday. Then we had fans saying this. Ben says, Egan Famio were very average today, in my opinion. We were lucky to get away with the win. We just don't look like losing our finishes on maps. I'd start you over Miller next game. Replace Famio with Giles and Blackburn. We should hopefully get another 3 points. Yeah.
He's injured, isn't he, Jack?
Who's right, Elliot?
To be fair, I think with Vermeer, for how we bought, I think we sort of brought him in as sort of more of a squad player, just to sort of fill sort of defensively. And to be honest, in the games that he's played, I think he's done a decent job. I think yesterday in the first half he was excellent, and second half it was a little bit more of a struggle. They were sort of targeting that side a lot more, but I think for the value of his signing and what we're getting out of him, I think he's absolutely fine. He's not going to be sort of like, I don't think he's going to be someone like Charlie Hughes, who's got that, reputation about him, and someone who's progressing and could potentially be a Premier League player. I think he's a very sort of steady player, does his job, not without too much fuss. But yeah, I think when Giles gets back, it's important to put him back at left back, because he's been one of our star players, and also for me, where it's not really his natural position. But I think particularly when you look at Tuesday against Preston as well, not just a goal, but again, he was sort of comfortable, and I think he's been a good sort of servant so far this season.
Good. Right, Ben, why haven't Hull dipped into the Japanese market before now?
I don't know. I think it's something that a lot of fans would have wanted to see happen. I think there's been a lot that have come over to the Championship, obviously not with City, but with other different teams that have had like good spells in the Championship. They fit well into the sort of system that teams play in the Championship, attacking football, and you has just come in and fit like a glove. It's been amazing to see the way that he's just hit the ground running, and I think we're all surprised that we were able to get someone of that quality on loan from someone you'd consider a promotion rival in Bristol City.
Yeah, they don't tend to play with wingers, do they? That's one of the reasons that he was not really being used, Matty. Yeah, have you been impressed so far?
Yeah, he kind of fits the mold in terms of what we're looking for in terms of the player. He's energetic, he's enthusiastic, but he seems to have a bit of an outlet about him as well. You know, he had an excellent shot second half where he was unlucky to score. In terms of that pressing from the front, he does that really effectively. I think he just typifies that kind of that Asian type of player that he will work hard for the team and will never give up. He's technically very good as well. He'll take on players for his size as well. He's got a lot of physicality about him. So he has been, I mean, and he's only come on twice now on the bench. He hasn't started the games, and the impact that he's had in those two games, I would say, he's been excellent, and that's kind of fitting the mold. And he's added quality actually to the squad, because that's what obviously we've been missing with so many injuries. Is that we can take off Miller, Miller's been all right last couple of games, but I think he just kind of he was looking a bit tired yesterday. But to bring somebody on like you onto the pitch, he's a like replacement for me. He's still got the same quality as what Miller has. So yeah, it's a tremendous bit of business if we managed to pick him up from a promotional rival, and I know we're certainly asking why have Bristol City let him go, because he's that good, or he has started that good for us. So yeah, it's been an excellent signing in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. And some more to come as well, or one's just landed, Jack, from what we understand. Well, not what we understand, it's because it's official. Kieran Dowell, what do you think he'll give you that you don't already have? I mean, Lunny will love this one.
I just feel like he's a good backup. We need strength and quality on the bench. I mean, I don't know too much about him. I've seen some of the clips of his goals he scored, and some of them are quite something. So hopefully he's got that in his locker that he can give to us when we need it. He came on in, I think, the 70th, 80th minute in the second half, so I didn't really get to see much of him in terms of his playing and how he sets up in our system. But again, if he's anything like Hirakawa, he'll just settle in and he'll just get on with the flow of things, and he'll be a right impact. He'll just slot in, and then that's what Hirakawa did well. He came on for the first time ever, and he just fit the system. So hopefully Dowell can do the same thing, and he's certainly got a strike in the locker that he can produce. So that's something we also need, another strike. I mean, we've seen Regan Slater get that goal yesterday, but I feel like another one of those would just be perfect for us.
Elliot, one of the reasons you're up there is because of the away form. You were at St Mary's last week when we couldn't talk about that game because of my illness, but and Deepdale, of course, on Tuesday night. What have you noticed? Anything different over the recent couple of away performances? Are we doing anything different? Why are we keeping clean sheets now, which is something which we didn't do before?
Yeah, I think in general, just defensively, since that Middlesbrough game, we've been a lot better. I think we've played 10 since then, and we've only conceded 2 or more goals once. It's been a lot more steady, and I think particularly away from home, because we didn't actually win an away game till October this season. It's just been the last sort of few months been racking them up, and I think a lot of that is just down to being more defensively settled and also just being as clinical as we have been going forward. Because you look back to games at the start where, like Bristol City, we were really sort of open defensively, and that could have been 5 or 6 potentially. And also at Watford, bit of a poor second half there as well. So just been a bit more consistent on the road, and we've got some really good wins at some very tough places to go and teams that are in and around us in the table.
Okay. Away at Blackburn then next. Matty, how are you looking at this table now? When you see 5 points behind Borough, currently 8 points behind Coventry, that could be 12, of course, by the time they played Norwich. Are you settling for playoffs, or is there a chance you could usurp one of the ones at the top?
I keep having to pinch myself. I think every time I look at the table, and I'm still going to games, coming away thinking I'm not even fussed about where we are at the moment in terms of it's great that we're in the playoffs, but just coming away thinking, crikey, we're still 4th in the league. We're doing amazing. But I think we've got to be realistic. We've got to be serious now and say, well, particularly me, but I'm sure all of other fans are getting excited, is that we are in with a shout for automatic promotion. Surely we are in that battle with those teams at the front. We have still got Ipswich, Coventry to play. We've got a couple of, I think they're the only two teams at the top 10 that we've still got to, or definitely Ipswich and Wrexham, haven't we? We've got to play away. So we're definitely in with a shout, and if we keep performing the way that we're performing, picking up the points away and just making home a bit more stronger, we've got to be in with a serious chance of that automatic promotion. I think there was 4 teams, wasn't it, last year that was kind of up there challenging, and Sunderland kind of fell away a little bit. But even if we did a Sunderland and put pressure on the top, the 3 above us, we're then securing and maintaining our places in the playoffs. We've got not massive battle, we've got a bit of a gap now, haven't we, between now us and 7th place. So not to get complacent with that gap, but we've got to keep the pressure on those teams and keep them honest at the top, and keep picking up the points that we can. And we're getting players back, and I only think we'll get stronger each week because of the players that were coming back. Geldart's back yesterday, not really impactful, but you can see his qualities there. Once he's back up to speed, he'll start banging in the goals again. So yeah, it is, as we talked at the top of the show, it is a fairy tale for us at the moment, because we just didn't expect this whatsoever. But let's just enjoy it and keep up there. But realistically, let's get to the playoffs. That'll be an awesome achievement. That would be an awesome achievement. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just said that 0-0 draw with Coventry the first game, that would be a Premier League fixture next season, you'd have laughed at me and put me in the insane asylum, wouldn't you? Right, since we last met, of course, Hull have also been celebrating, or marking, I should say, the 4th year anniversary of Ashton becoming a chairman. Open question to you all here. Anybody want to give their thoughts on where are we at with our chairman? It's certainly been an up and down roller coaster ride.
I think, if I was to be honest, I think it's been, as you say, Mark, it's been ups and downs. There's been plenty of them, but I think it seems as if he's happy now and he's got what he was after, in the way that he's wanted coaches to play previously. The way he says, go out and win 4-3, or like don't go for like a boring 1-1 or a 1-0 win. I think he's happy now with the way that we play football. I think he's happy with the signings he's got as well, because he's got a mix of players that have got like the Turkish background, playing in the Turkish league, and players from Turkey as well. But yeah, I think, if I'm being honest, I think a lot of people were very much on the fence at the start of the season, but I think he's sort of redeemed himself with the way that this season's panned out so far.
I think uniting the fan base has probably been one of his biggest achievements. I suppose is getting bums back on seat and bringing back that feel good factor to the club. I mean the atmosphere we have always talked about isn't still up there in terms of, but in terms of getting fans more involved with the club and having that at the heart of his kind of vision, I suppose, for the club, has definitely helped bring bums on seats and whatever else. So I suppose that is one of his legacies. Is great, and I think we've spoken about the financial model, that in terms of where do we go forwards, that we don't have to put loads of money into the club to have a successful team. You just have to have the right people, an astute team, which we have got now in terms of recruitment, to pick up the right people. So that's hopefully, like you said, Ben says, that's a model that he's going to learn from in the future, and hopefully adopt that so we can stay financially stable as well. So, but yeah, no, it's been a good 4 years, hasn't it? We can't really complain. It's been exciting.
Coming up shortly, we've got our A to Z continuing up to letter M, so thinking caps on for that. But in recognition of that, we're thinking about managers this week, and putting to our panel and to you guys watching, who's been the best manager of Hull City in your lifetime? In the chat, we'd like to read some of these. Next week, we're going to discuss who the worst manager is. I don't think it'll take us very long, but get some of those comments. We're going to put some of your comments up next week. Elliot, for you in your shortish lifetime, who's been the best guy in the dugout?
I would probably still have to say Steve Bruce, just with the Premier League, getting to the Premier League twice, and also FA Cup final and making Europe. I think sort of post Premier League era, you probably at the moment you're probably looking at Jurkovic as a contender. Obviously, he's only been here 6 months, but just in terms of how rejuvenated the club is at the moment, and going down the line, if he's here for a few years and does really well, then he might be in the conversation. But I think Steve Bruce for me is still number one from since I've been going.
Okay, Jack.
It's quite difficult for me, but I got the privilege of seeing Marco Silva for that year in the Premier League. I think it's a good shout for him. He's very good, and look at him now where he's with Fulham and how well he's doing Fulham. But I think it's got to be Rossini for me. I think a year and a half with what he did with the club, he transformed it completely. New style of football, bringing in the players we had in like Cavalier, Morton, Delap, just players you wouldn't expect us to have at that time, especially under the circumstances when he came in. So yeah, I've got to give him credit for that. And he got a 7th in his first full year with us. Unfortunately, he didn't get the chance to have another season with us. But again, look where he is now. He's with Chelsea. He got a 4th win of them today against Crystal Palace. So I think in terms of managers, it's got to be Rossini, especially with the long-term impact that he's had since starting out his proper career at Hull City. I think he was brilliant, and the football was great too, especially on the road. So I'll give it to Rossini.
Yeah. Matty, in your lifetime?
I think probably Bruce would be a good shout, and somebody that never really gets mentioned in that would be Phil. I suppose it's Phil Brown in the same bracket for getting us up, but no, he never gets a mention. He probably wasn't our greatest manager, but he never gets a mention because he got us promoted that very first time. But I would probably say Peter Taylor. Probably is a good shout in there. I'm not saying he's the greatest, but I would put Peter Taylor in my lifetime. I mean, I've seen a lot of rubbish down the years, but taking over when Adam Pearson took over the ownership of the club and Peter Taylor was appointed, he then got us back-to-back promotions to get us up to the Championship. So without his kind of philosophy and putting his stamp on the team, then we probably would be in the doldrums still down there. So he's got to take a lot of credit for that, for getting us up there. So yeah, I'd go with Peter Taylor, as long with Steve Bruce as well. Yeah.
Any new names, Ben, that have not been mentioned?
I think my pick would be Steve Bruce, to be honest. I think same reasons everyone else has said, yeah.
All right, cool. Right, so we're on to letter M for Man Flu, which is, I could put that forward this week. What are you, what have any of you got here? MKM, we're going to have to put that in?
Yeah,
not really.
No, okay, right.
I could probably say McBurney for this season.
McBurney, yeah.
McBurney?
Yeah, McBurney. There's quite a few, I think.
Harry Maguire as well.
Harry Maguire?
Yeah.
I've put Buzz Myhill, I've just put down as well. Probably the best keeper I've seen at City in terms of consistency. So Myhill was definitely on that list as well. David Myler, Paul McShane, cult hero as well. A bit of a cult hero in terms of the fans and stuff. But yeah, quite a few there to choose from, Mark, I reckon.
Well, we're going to have. I mean, Myhill obviously is going to be in the conversation, I'd imagine. Any dispute with that?
I don't think so.
No, I mean, if you get promoted, Bernie can replace him next year. I'm not certain on that, but let us know in the comments, please. Now, difficult letter next week, N. So get your thinking caps on for that, and then we're heading into the P and the Q region as well. So yeah, difficult times ahead for us on this. So do join us. If you haven't yet subbed, please do so. Great to have your company back this week. And yeah, we'll look forward. I say we look forward to the Blackburn game, but if it's anything like the last one, maybe not. Catch you then in 7 days' time. Yeah, the real fairy tale is happening right here. Catch you then.